Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today with us. So today INET NYC and EURAXESS are organizing an event from the US to Europe. EURAXESS helps you across the Atlantic. So today we will hear about what the resources and the initiatives that EURAXESS implemented to support scientists to go work in Europe. And we have Jackson Howard, who is the head of EURAXESS North America, and Magdalena Wisłowska, who is the head of EURAXESS Ireland, and will give us the initiatives that are implemented in Ireland, but also can be found in other countries, EURAXESS of other countries in Europe.
Hi, it's my pleasure. Lori, feel free to interrupt at any point if we need to get back on track. I believe everyone can see right now that I'm sharing the poll results here. Almost all the attendees responded. This is really useful information in terms of us, my colleague and I, being able to tailor our comments and responses to understanding if people already have the right to reside and work in Europe, or if they may benefit from certain programs that are available to American citizens. So understanding both of those is really useful. And then if you have a particular country in mind or not, we can also spend some more time addressing how there's country-specific resources. As Lori said, everyone will keep an eye on the chat. It should be open, so you're able to share as much or as little information you want about yourself. And I believe I speak on behalf of INET NYC that we at EURAXESS North America and EURAXESS generally are all about creating community and being in touch and understanding our members. So please do follow up with us afterwards if you have particular questions that I, as part of EURAXESS North America, can help answer. And I think by the end of the presentations, you'll have a good idea for how all three organizations presenting or speaking today have specific niches that we can help give you information about. So if everyone's able to see these results, I'll stop sharing in a moment, but you'll get an idea for what your fellow attendees, what sort of the demographics are. I'll quickly go through. It looks like 3 out of 5 attendees do hold an EU passport or the ability to work throughout Europe. Just under 20% hold a US passport. So I'll have my colleague note that there may be a few remarks we can make on that. Almost every single attendee is considering moving or returning to Europe, as the event title implies. So I think you're here for a very relevant purpose. And it looks like, I'm just reading verbatim, 27% have a particular country in mind, 63% have multiple countries you're considering, and only 10% of you are either not considering returning to Europe or just do not have a particular country in mind, but you know you want to go to Europe. So I think this is really useful for us to know. And I'm going to stop sharing that, close this, and begin my presentation in one moment. So bear with me here. I'll also just quickly say I have a few housekeeping comments I wrote down. The responses to those 4 poll questions were anonymous, so I won't be able to tie your answers to your name or email address. Please, I'll see the chat when I can, most likely after my presentation. In the meantime, my colleague at EURAXESS North America is behind the scenes, also taking a look. If you opted into our mailing list at EURAXESS North America during registration, you'll hear from us about twice a month with our flash note emails, which I'll explain the information we share in those during my presentation, and you can unsubscribe with a single click at any time. And then if you are particularly interested in Ireland, my colleague who follows me today will have a lot of insights to share. And then by a great stroke of coincidence, last week, I interviewed officials from the Embassy of Ireland in the United States and Science Foundation Ireland. So I right now will share a link in the chat so you can bookmark that and check out the recording afterwards if you'd like. So let me get this out. Please do just open that page, take a look, and I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so I hope everyone can see this, hear me fine. I'll proceed here. There will be a little bit of overlap in my colleague Magdalena, who will speak after me, her remarks and my remarks, just because we're two sides of the same coin, representing different parts of the EURAXESS project. But I think this will be useful because you'll hear a lot of the similar tasks we do, the similar assistance we provide, but from inside and outside of Europe. So thank you for attending this event. A large thank you to INET NYC for putting this together. And because we've been speaking with them, learning more about the event on Thursday, although I won't be speaking, I can say that there's a great list of speakers and panelists, and I'm excited to join as an attendee in meet you in one of the breakout rooms and do some networking. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone in 48 hours as well. So the overarching project or initiative is called EURAXESS Researchers in Motion. As I mentioned, I am with EURAXESS North America. So there's hubs outside of Europe, and then there's over 600 EURAXESS centers within Europe that we work in a complementary fashion. And a lot of this depends on if you're already in Europe or not, or if you know the destination you'd like to go to. So with this, again, this really quick overview, EURAXESS Researchers in Motion is the overall project of the European Commission. And we're looking forward to letting you know what we do at EURAXESS North America in particular. So EURAXESS is a unique pan-European initiative of the European Research Area, or ERA. This is the unified research area of EU member states and associated countries. So not just strictly EU member states, but also countries within Europe and near Europe that pay into the budget of the Research and Innovation Framework Program organized by the European Commission, and then get access to it. So this creates a single borderless market for all things research, innovation, and technology across the EU. And this in turn enables the free circulation of researchers, scientific knowledge, and technology. So one of many tools to achieve all of these goals is through EURAXESS, again, backed by the European Union and its member states and associated countries. The overall aim of all aspects of EURAXESS is to support researcher mobility, career development, and enhance scientific collaboration between Europe and the world. And all of the services that we offer at EURAXESS are free of charge. So the information I'm sharing here actually mirrors the layout of the website. So there's 4 central components to EURAXESS services. And if you hop on any EURAXESS website, whether it's one of the hubs outside of Europe or one of the country-specific national portals, you'll find tabs or main headings that follow this wording. So the jobs and funding database, this is where researchers are invited to search for job vacancies and funding opportunities. And then also research institutions, universities, and companies are able to publish job vacancies there. And any opportunity that receives European Commission funding is required to be on this portal. So if you have other existing private portals you search, it's a great complement. But if you're looking to save time, sort of optimize your search in a time-efficient manner, this really is a one-stop shop, an optimized tool where you can do most of your search exclusively on your EURAXESS portal. If you create a free profile, registered users will be able to search for both individuals and then research organizations and businesses if you're looking for project partners. On top of that, there's a hosting database. So research institutions are invited to publish their hosting offers. The most common example you see of this is when someone receives, when applicants successfully receive Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions fellowships and the money that comes along with this bottom-up project that they've pitched in their application, they need to apply with the host institution alongside them. So universities and institutions will express their interest and publish offers for you to partner with them and submit the application together. In terms of career development, we support you throughout the entire process of your own career development, whether it's about, we have events and sort of informational tools that help you engage with academia, engage with industry. I think what INET's doing and what we're supporting this upcoming Thursday is a great example of the field-specific tools that are provided. We have career development centers throughout Europe, and then your local hub, again, whether it's within Europe or outside of Europe. So most of the people attending today, I understand, are coming from the United States. So we as EURAXESS North America and your local hub will hopefully have a lot of information and also tailored information so we can give presentations to your group, your university, your association. If you reach out to us and let us know what your particular areas of interest are. And this includes training resources and a lot more. Magda will speak in more detail about the national portals, but when it comes to the information and assistance, each country, it's a European Union member state or associated country, has a national portal, and this will provide information on research jobs and funding opportunities with personalized services specific to that country. I can go in more detail in a few slides, but I know Magdalena will really be the expert to speak to that. So if you're outside of Europe already, your gateway to all of these services is through EURAXESS Worldwide, and that's the branding, that's the terminology we use for those 8 hubs that are outside of Europe. So in North America, we cover the United States and Canada. Most countries around the world have some hub associated with them. And if you happen to be residing currently in a country that doesn't have one, regardless, we at North America will be happy to help you. And then if you do have a particular European country or countries in mind, the EURAXESS representatives there are always happy to help you and responsible for assisting you. So this is a really quick overview of the website. I described those first four sections, which you can see here on the homepage. If you are spending only a couple minutes checking this out, you can see on the main landing page, it asks what you are and what you're looking for. So if you say something like, I am a researcher and I want to find a host institution, I want to find funding, it'll take you to the appropriate board on the EURAXESS website. And like I said, this is all centrally managed. They do check for spam and sort of fraudulent information and scams. So it's all very actively cleaned and maintained. So you don't have to worry about anyone running rampant and inaccurate information. And then finally, what I really like about the portal is that, for example, I'm not a gatekeeper in any sense of the word, and you're never applying to EURAXESS or through EURAXESS. You're simply getting the contact information for the people or the institution offering the job, offering the position, and taking direct contact with them. So really, there's no hoops you're going through or middlemen that you're contacting. You're taking direct communication with the people making the offer. If you've been familiar with EURAXESS in the past, in recent years, the portal's been expanded. So in addition to existing targeting of researchers, universities, and research organizations, which is self-explanatory, you can see that there's now sections for entrepreneurs and businesses. So this is where, when you're creating your free profile, there's tailored fields for what they're looking for to make a more optimized match and optimized searches. So I would encourage you, regardless of which category you might fall into, to register that free account. You can see there's a large number of people that have registered. You can create a CV, add that to your profile. There's a sort of singular EuroPass format created by the Commission, which there's a dedicated website. If you just search online for EuroPass, all one word, that'll help you stand out more, as you can see, since about 1 out of 6 registered users has actually done that. And then organizations themselves have also created profiles. So regardless of who you are, what you're looking for, you can make yourself searchable and then search for partners or employers or people to hire. Magda, who will follow me, will speak a lot more about the EURAXESS centers. There's over 600 in Europe. This is constantly growing. The number of positions is fluctuating on a daily basis, but in my experience, it tends to be above 10,000 most of the time. So I checked moments before this webinar started, and there's almost 13,000 positions open currently. If you look at the screenshot right here, which is part of the jobs and funding portal, you can see that all the different options for what you can toggle on to narrow down your search. So to narrow down that 12,000 plus opportunities, you can search your specific country. So let's say Ireland in this example, your researcher profile according to European Union definitions, your field, your sector, and if you have a particular funding program that you're interested in or programs, you can only toggle those on and see the matches that are live from there. Right now, we've just entered this year the Horizon Europe Framework Program. So the European Commission funds research and innovation on a 7-year basis, which is quite innovative in and of itself. Many of these calls are, the first batch of calls is expected to be released very soon in the coming weeks. So I would say bookmark and check out the EURAXESS website today. And then as early as at the end of the month, you'll find a lot of opportunities that have been published here. So check today to get familiar with the website. And then check in the coming weeks to really see a lot of these. There's a small number of calls from the previous 7-year framework program that formally ended on December 31st of last year, just under 6 months ago. But because of the nature of the calls and the funding and the start dates, you will see some on the previous program, which is called Horizon 2020. And you'll be hearing a lot more about Horizon Europe, regardless of which country you're living in or which passport you hold in the coming weeks. And this also extends to the hosting database to look for research hosts in Europe. Career development, I think INET's program this upcoming Thursday is a great example of organizations we'll partner with to provide career development. I won't go on and on because you can just check out on the website the different our past events to get an idea for the types of trainings, information we'll provide, and then our upcoming events as well. In terms of partnering, like I said, register this free account, search for the people you're trying to search for, and allow yourself to be found as well. There is a sort of networking aspect to it. And personalized assistance. This is where I'll be ending in a few slides, but I think my colleague Magdalena will provide a lot of information if you know what you're looking for, in particular in Europe. This is where you can go to the national portals. This is a list of all the countries that are either European Union member states or associated countries on the previous Horizon 2020 program. This may be expanding slightly as new countries express interest in paying into the Horizon Europe budget, because Horizon Europe is in many ways only recently being finalized. The countries haven't yet had an opportunity to formally express interest in becoming an associated country. So I would say later in the year, we'll have a closer idea. Canada may be approaching Europe about this. A lot of this comes down to agreements on funding areas and how to agree on funding levels. But this would be of particular interest to anyone residing in Canada, again, regardless of nationality. And the list is constantly being expanded. Tunisia and Armenia were added as recently as last year. So I will defer to Magdalena for this, but the national portals, just really quickly, if you take a look at these 18 overarching categories, each EURAXESS national portal will have a slightly different list, but overall, this list of 18 categories falls under 3 categories, which is living in Europe, including moving to Europe, working in Europe, and then if you choose, leaving Europe. So regardless of, you may be an Irish citizen, but never have lived and worked in Ireland, and you may not be familiar with what the social security system is like in the country, and an expert in the country, like Magdalena at EURAXESS Ireland, would provide information tailored to your needs. The main idea here is to remove the burden of you actually moving from one country to another, and this is within Europe or from outside of Europe to Europe, so you can focus on actually making the move in your research career. I would say I'll drop a link in a few moments to our mailing list. It's free. If you clicked yes when you're registering for this event, I'll automatically add you in a few moments. But basically, we send flash note emails twice a month where you can find a lot of funding opportunities, news, events, which in particular, with everything being virtual during the pandemic, I think we can reach you and be in close contact. So a really quick overview of what we do and how. The linking of researchers in North America to Europe. Again, all of the opportunities we promote tend to be regardless of nationality, research fields, and career stage. So we were able to cast a really wide net in that sense. One of our 2 flagship events every year is the annual meeting of the European scientific diasporas in North America. I would say most of the European countries have some type of scientific diaspora group. Some are more formal in the sense that they're established 501c3 nonprofits. They have a board of directors. They get donations. They may get funding from their local embassy in Washington, D.C., or the foreign ministry, or other ministries in the government. Others are a group of informal researchers who appreciate their culture, want to stay in touch, want to share opportunities with each other, and maybe have a social media account, but not a website. So there's a whole spectrum. If you're interested in learning more about what yours would be, or if you're interested in a country for research purposes, for moving there, regardless of not having a background from that country, we're really happy to connect you. That's what we're all about. So we want to link you and then keep you connected. So reach out to us, let us know. How we do this, how we provide information on European funding opportunities, the second section, is through what we call our flash note emails that go out twice a month. On our website, we post news and events, and then on social media, we'll promote heavily a lot of the different funding opportunities. Some of the ones we promote most heavily are ERC grants, so the European Research Council, which will continue very successfully into Horizon Europe, alongside MSCA fellowships, Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. These fellowships, for a lot of these 2 are bottom-up applications. The criterion in the application is excellence. So I think you can basically create your own proposal for either one of these, and then if you're successfully funded, have a lot of freedom and flexibility. We also promote European Union member state / associated country national funding. So anything that's funded by the Commission, like I said, will be on the EURAXESS portal. Whenever we're aware of national funding, we post that to the portal as well, and our website. This includes university openings. If you're looking to start a PhD, to do a postdoc, universities that are familiar with EURAXESS have created their own profiles. I think I said earlier, there's about 20,000 organizations that have registered organizational profiles. They'll post those themselves, and then we'll proactively share opportunities that we come across. So I will share a link to the email sign up. Like I said, it's free. You can unsubscribe if you don't like it. And then you can also just visit our website and click the bright yellow button there. And then for career development, we have hands-on sessions on a lot of different topics to quickly give an overview, things like grant writing, fellowship writing, mentoring, science communication, publishing and peer review. We have a 5-part series with our colleagues at EURAXESS Latin America and the Caribbean, EURAXESS LAC, on academic publishing. Topics like transitioning from academia to industry. And if you have, I would really give a big endorsement to this event on Thursday at noon Eastern time. So I'll see you all there. I won't go on and on. The list is really long, but we've been doing a lot of events, in particular during the pandemic, where we can reach you all virtually. So my colleagues in the background, so Dr. Daria Buyutina-Karajan and I are at your service. She and I are both based in Washington, D.C. Is EURAXESS North America, covering all of the US and Canada. So like I said, regardless of your nationality, if you are a researcher, we are here for you to help you connect to and stay connected with Europe. So I'm really excited to hear from my colleague at EURAXESS Ireland. take some questions. I'll be catching up in the chat in just a minute and sharing some of those links I promised. And thank you once more to INET NYC for the opportunity to present today. Thank you. And I think, let me see if I can help unmute the next speaker here.
Oh, hello everybody. I'm already on unmute mode, so I hope I will be able to share my my slides with you. Give me a moment.
That's great. So I see your screen share, Magda. I don't see the
presentation. Can you see my presentation?
But I don't see the PowerPoint. If you have multiple screens, it might be the other screen that you want to share.
Yeah, I hope now.
That's great. If you go full screen, that's perfect.
Yeah. Can you see it now correctly? Okay,
great.
so
thank you.
Hello everybody. I'm glad to be here with you today, and thank you so much for inviting me to this event. I'm speaking to you from Ireland, and you know, we have now over after evening time, but I hope I will be useful for you, and great to have you on the other side of the screen. So as already mentioned, I am head of EURAXESS Ireland, so a national regional service and portal in Ireland. Jackson has already mentioned how powerful and wonderful organizations we are. So we are present in 42 countries. We have over 600 centers across Europe. So you can see on the map, we are almost everywhere to help you to have all your researchers at every stage of the career, young and researchers, professors, to move and to pursue their careers. And we are very, very popular. We have over 12 million pages views. And this is the data from 2020. We have loads of jobs and funding offers waiting for you. So please register whenever you can. And personally, I know a lot of success stories, people who found jobs through EURAXESS, who were really successful in moving to Ireland and other European countries for research. So we are really helpful, and we work hopefully. So a little bit about EURAXESS Ireland. So Ireland is a really small country, as you know. It's you know, near 5 million cities, people, and it's very diverse nationally and culturally. We have so many different nationalities working here and collaborating together, especially in research sector. Research is super multicultural, and Ireland is a very, very welcoming country. And you know, doesn't matter where you are from. You know, the only criterion is excellence, and open recruitment is very popular in Ireland. So when you apply for a position and you know your credentials are good, you can be sure you will be called for interview. So it's you know, this is a very, very multinational community. And EURAXESS Ireland is based in Irish Universities Association. This is an institution which looks after all 8 universities. We have not too many universities in Ireland, of various aspects of their functionality. And you know, but also EURAXESS is part of this community. We are under research sector, and we provide you know, assistance and help. It's a very small office, so to be honest with you, I am, you know, the person who is working and collaborating actively as a main person. I also have great help from IT sector and other colleagues, but you know, we manage it very well. Here I'm showing you our universities. and we have 8 universities, and from, recently we had only 7, but the most recent university, Technological University Dublin, joined the university community only this month. So now we have 8. Why I am showing it to you, because all these universities are collaborating and cooperating with EURAXESS Ireland, and we are working together. So I have colleagues over there, and we meet regularly. So if you want to connect and you want to speak with a particular person or particular PI in any university, and you need support, I'm also here to help you. And so EURAXESS Ireland has a website as any other national portal. As mentioned already, there are main sections. We keep the same layout. So we have jobs and funding section, which is very popular. Also career development section, which helps people a little bit with, finding themselves on the career pathway. Maybe they need some support with CV, maybe they need their support with other aspects to be really successful with, with their dream job. Information and assistance section is very busy in Ireland. This is where the actual work happens. I'm always very busy replying to emails, phone calls, various, Zooms, whatever, social media are available to speak to people, to help them to reply to questions, to connect them with authorities. Also, a website is very good, Irish website and other websites where you can find information about all aspects of practical aspects. So, pension rights, taxation, and employment permits, in addition to all aspects related to research, funding and money for research, and things like that. Also, a section related to leaving Ireland, where to go, you want to go abroad is here. So we can do a lot for you. Irish kind of phase of EURAXESS is very specific because we are so welcoming. We have so many people joining Irish universities and Irish research active institutions in Ireland from various countries. So we need a great section devoted to immigration. So this is our speciality in Ireland. I personally have relevant education in immigration, so I can help personally with many questions, and also I speak on a regular basis with immigration authorities and visa people to help people, to resolve any kind of problems and questions. So immigration element is very, very important for Irish EURAXESS, and I will come back to you a little bit later. Also, what is very important here, coronavirus, as you all know, is something which completely changed our practice, and coronavirus advice and updates can be found on any national portal of EURAXESS. So you can find there how, what you need if you need to relocate. It's very, very important now, because without correct action, you can find yourself in trouble. So you need a good advice related to mobility under pandemic conditions. So we all have this information on our websites, including Ireland. Coming to jobs, which is very, very popular website. This is the most popular section of EURAXESS. I just find for you that we have 138 jobs in Ireland available for researchers at various career stages. The country is small, it doesn't look impressive, but we have jobs, and Irish universities are employing. And also, Jackson mentioned a lot of interesting things, and I want to draw your attention on this little kind of logos, which can be found beside, when you look for jobs, you can find different logos. So this logos is particularly interesting because this is Human Resources Excellence in Research Award. So when you see a job coming from an institution with such a logo, you can be sure that the institution is really observing all the regularities and it's implementing the charter and the code in the policies and practice. So you will be treated really well. There are other logos as well, which are really important when looking for jobs. For example, here, as we already mentioned, you can look for jobs by various keywords. And also here you can have jobs in European research programs, Marie Curie programs. They have specific logo like this. So you can see they have different, they are described different ways. And science for refugees, this is a very important logo. So these jobs are friendly for people with refugee history or refugee background. People with such history can be sure that you know, the criteria for them would be a little bit more friendly than for the others. So this is important. So we can find everyday life practicalities on living and working in Ireland on our website. You know, as I mentioned already, so founding sources available for research, taxation, salary, pension right, accommodation. All this information can be found on the website. Also, family information related to family, education, and medical aspects. This is all important when you are considering moving to another country. It's really important you think about everything in advance. And it's good to check the website. If you have particular questions, it's very good to connect with, if you are really for Ireland, with me, or if you are planning another country, to speak with colleagues from other countries. And we are also a big family. So if you, for example, move to another country and you have problems with connecting with a person who should be there, you can speak to any EURAXESS representatives and we can help you. So this is what we have. For example, for accommodation in Ireland, you have different options. You have information on how to find, you know, your house. Websites are very popular in Ireland, DAF and My Home, where you can find your home, your house when you are moving. And also this practice varies from country to country. Some countries are very well organized, and when we are moving to Poland, for example, which is my home country, or Czech Republic, EURAXESS there is very active in helping you to find the actual accommodation. In Ireland, we are not doing it because the practice is different. You need to be here personally, but you know, the online assistance via professional websites works very well. So countries differ. All European countries have different culture and different way of sorting out practical things, and you need to be aware about that. Also, a medical card. This is very important when you are moving. When you are European, this is the European, European medical card, which works in all EU countries. If you are not, you don't need to worry, because there is always a solution. In Ireland, for example, everybody, even non-EU person, will be cared for, and you can find medical care, and hospitals and other medical care centers will look after you. In Ireland, it depends on your plans. If you plan to stay here for a couple of months, you will be looked after and you will be treated like any other European person. But it depends on the country. Every country has a different culture. So this is a very important aspect to check. And we are here for you. We have the information. We have the practice very well described for you, up-to-date information. And also, when you are moving, there's a lot of formalities with, for example, social welfare and social security. And you need to organize certain things in advance of your leave. And it's always good to speak with your employer, with people who are, you have a work arrangement with. They will know what to do and how to do it. There are different countries. In Ireland, situation is very good, well organized. It's quite easy and simple to get what you need. In other countries like Spain, for example, it might be a little bit tricky and take a little bit more time, but you need to be prepared and check in advance what is really required. Also, for access to education for your family members is important. Before you travel, you need to know what is there, because sometimes you can be surprised if you need to pay, for example, for private education. In Ireland, you know, it depends. Obviously, you will be classified always if you are EU or non-EU, and there is fee or not, depending on your nationality. So we have a lovely chart here for undergraduate and postgraduate applications for universities, which explains to you what is required. This can be found on the EURAXESS Ireland website. So all aspects of life need to be really thought, you know, in advance of your travel. So funding offer is also very important. So we have various funding offers advertised along with the jobs. So it's good to see what is there in the menu for you, depending on the country you go. And I would like to draw your attention on funding offers for people based in the US, for US nationals, because I know that a good proportion of you now here on the other side of the screen are actually American passport holders. So there is a wonderful institution which is called the Fulbright Foundation, which looks after you. So there are Fulbright grants available to American nationals to research, study, or lecture in Ireland. And also not only in Ireland, because the Fulbright program is the largest of its kind in the America awarding body, and this institution is awarding more than 800 fellowships annually. So there are plenty of opportunities. You can work in education and administration. It is available for scientists, journalists, artists, and you know, various professions. So the Fulbright Scholar Awards in Ireland is now the awards, the call is open, and in Ireland you can have the award for over a period of 3 or 12 months, and the application period is now open. So you can have a look at that. The link is here. So maybe that might be of interest to some of you. If you plan coming to Ireland, look at the you know, Fulbright Foundation. Also, you can be, you need to think about your qualification recognition. Sometimes people are really concerned. There are, for example, medical qualifications or other qualifications can be recognized in Europe. So in Ireland, we have an institution, NARIC Ireland. You can find info on academic recognition of foreign qualifications in Ireland. You can refer to this website if you hold a foreign qualification and you wish to have it recognized in Ireland. So as you see, EURAXESS website is really full of information on various aspects. And it's good to know, to make a list what you really need when you move. So that's in Ireland, obviously. Obviously, funding is crucially important, and I already mentioned the most important, maybe most powerful and most popular rewards in science, you know, Marie Curie actions. Just to let you know that EURAXESS Ireland works in tandem with Marie Curie National Coordinator. We are in one office, so we complement each other. There are loads of options available for you. I am presenting some links which can be actually very useful and practical if you are interested in applying for this. So Marie Curie's actions, for example, postdoctoral fellowship programs for those of you who plan postdoc programs. These programs would provide opportunities for researchers holding a PhD and who are based in America. This fellowship will help you to travel to Europe to work with a partner based in Europe. This is called European Postdoctoral Fellowship. while the global postdoctoral fellowships enable American researchers to collaborate with European partners by acting as a host for a global postdoctoral fellow, who will then return to work with the European-based host. So there are options for people based in America. And doctoral networks also provide an option for researchers, for PhD candidates based in America to come to Europe. And what is important to mention here, all available Marie Curie jobs and options, doctoral network vacancies, are advertised on EURAXESS. And this is an obligation. So if you are looking for a job in this particular European funding, which are very prestigious, by the way, EURAXESS jobs portal will have all of them. Now, I would like to mention the most important aspect of EURAXESS Ireland activity, because I know that a lot of you are, for example, are holding non-EU passports. So it applies to people holding American, Canadian passport, and also non-European economic area passports. EURAXESS Ireland, and so myself personally, I'm managing a special fast-track fast-track visa scheme for researchers who come to Ireland to work. Most important thing is that you need to have a job before you plan this. So this scheme is called Hosting Agreement Scheme, and over 5,000 researchers already used this scheme from over 100 different countries. And they came to Ireland to work. And many of them, actually 50%, decided to stay forever. So information about this is on EURAXESS Ireland website under the Hosting Agreement Scheme here. And it's also called Fast Track Work Permit for non-EU or ND, so research and development researchers. All information is here, so you can have a look and read all the nitty-gritty about it. Just to show you that Ireland is here marked in yellow, and only the green countries, the nationalities holding passports, people holding passports from the green area of this map can work freely and travel freely to Ireland. Others need to visa to enter and permit to work, the red countries, and even more now because this map is not updated. Brazilians, for example, now need visas. This is new because of pandemic. And blue-collar countries like people from USA, for example, and Canada, Australia, they don't need visa to enter Ireland. So you can buy your ticket, you can book your ticket and come in here and stay for 3 months, but you need a permit to work. So what is very kind of complicated about Irish immigration reality is the fact that permission to work and visa to enter are actually managed by different departments, by different, separated authorities. And this is always confusing people. So that's why EURAXESS Ireland is so important. But if you are traveling, if you are not from the green part of the country, you don't have the passport, you can have dual nationality citizenship. You can have one passport which is European and other which is non-European. You can use your European passport to travel to Ireland and work without a permit. It's up to you. It's up to you. You can use one of your passports because there are many people with dual citizenship. But if you are, non-EU passport holders, you would need either visa or both, visa and work permit to work in Ireland, to come in and work in Ireland. And hosting agreement is something which denies work permit. This is a special kind of permission to work, which enables people to work without a permit in Ireland. But obviously, who is visa required is visa required. We need to apply for a visa. But it's fast track. So this is fast track immigration, meaning that these people are always on priorities. Even now, under pandemic conditions, many people cannot get visas to Ireland, but researchers are on priority list and their visas are processed. being processed at the moment, and they will eventually get that visa to come in here. What is very, very, very important, people always ask me, that you need to have your job first. You need to be successful in having a job offer from any Irish employer as a researcher. So what it means, you need to have at least master's or PhD in practice, you know, because you can work even for industry. You can have employment in industry, and you still are eligible for for um, for working on the hosting agreement scheme. You know, so this is very, very flexible program. And yeah, so you can have a job for minimum 3 months to forever, because it also works for permanent positions. If you are traveling with family members, immediate family members, I mean your wife, your husband, and your children, so spouses and kids, it's permitted. So your immediate family can come in with you immediately. There is no waiting time, because I mentioned it because other permissions to work doesn't allow for immediate family reunification. You need to wait 1 year or two before your spouse can join you in Ireland. Here you can travel together, so and stay and work, and your children can use free education, and your spouses can work anywhere without a permit. So this is, I think, spouses of hosting agreement holders are the only category of people who can work without any permission, any job. So it's really welcoming. Why Ireland is doing it? Because Ireland needs scientific mind. The islands need the greatest mind, and they realize how important it is to have educated people in various different areas here. So that's why we have this scheme. So you can even be an academic. You can work as a lecturer to qualify for the hosting agreement scheme, and you can move your employer. If you don't like it, you can move to another. Which is not the case for any other permissions to work. Your salary can be really small because it works from 22,000 to 30 if you are with family members, which is for Irish standards really little. Because to qualify for any other permit to work, you need to have at least 35,000 or 60,000 per annum, And hosting agreement is very, very good because sometimes young researchers and graduates are not offered great jobs with big salaries. So that's why the minimum is so low. So this is a great, great scheme for anybody who wants to move and doesn't have the passport of EU, who is coming to obviously over nationalities, but 4% are Americans, for example. So this is very interesting to see. But currently, Indians, people with Indian passport, 30%, Chinese 11%,
Magda, I'm really sorry to chime in here. It's 1 o'clock already. We'd like to leave some time for questions in the end.
Yeah. So
would that be okay?
Yeah. So just give me 3 minutes. Just to show you which areas of research are very popular in Ireland. So definitely engineering and technology, medicine and pharmacy. Also IT. So these are the people with such qualifications are really welcome in Ireland. We help EURAXESS Ireland has researchers, but we also have human resources, principal investigators, whoever. I'm showing you the questions which normally come to me every day. So people are complaining about immigration authorities because they are not behaving well. We can solve this kind of problems for you. Human resources are having questions, they come to EURAXESS Ireland and we help as well. So we are here for you, waiting for you. We have a help desk. We are operating by email, phone, LinkedIn, various websites, media. We have regular events, workshops, and master classes. And if you want, we can arrange a Zoom call with you. It's absolutely no problem. You know, we are doing a great job. Which I have many testimonials like here, for example. I don't have too much time, but wanted to show you that we are so different in Europe, and every country has its own specificity. Immigration. Ireland is very good in immigration, but we also help with other things. But for example, in Spain, they have various actions, and they are working with diaspora of researchers in America. They have a special mentoring program aiming at connecting highly skilled professional working in industry in Spain to researchers currently residing in the US. So this is something which they are doing and the other countries are not doing. And, you know, so this is EURAXESS Spain. EURAXESS in German is fantastic in dual career. So if you are coming to Copenhagen, to Denmark, together with your spouse, they will look after your spouse. They will look after your spouse's career, professional career. So they are very good in that aspect. Ireland is not doing it, but EURAXESS in Denmark is very active in this area. So this is absolutely everything I have. My contact details are here, and thank you very much for your attention, and I'm open to questions. Thanks, I'm stopped sharing now.
Excellent. Thanks so much both for a very informative session. Yeah, we've got a few questions here. I'm sorry to all the attendees. We're running a little late. I hope you'll be able to stay a few more minutes just for some questions. And actually, the first question probably for you, Magda, kind of follows up on kind of work-life balance and all that. One question that came up quite a bit is do you kind of need to speak the country's language to move, or is like if you speak English, that's enough for your job application?
Can I answer this question?
Pardon?
Can I answer this question?
Okay, perfect. Because I guess lots of people kept asking this question.
Yeah. So if you allow me, you know, it depends. It really depends on the country. So if you have English, then you are. This is the first language, which is absolutely important in Europe. But currently, there is a tendency of you know, of having other language. So you need to have 2 European languages to be successful in Europe. And I tell you an example. In Spain, for example, you can work fantastically with only 1 language, with English. You know, in many jobs. In Scandinavia, they will force you to have Swedish or Danish or Norwegian. Eventually, it's impossible to work without this language, but they are very good in providing lessons. You know, so there are various options, but it's definitely, if you have only English, don't worry, especially for science, because in science, even in Germany, you survive with English only, and you will have time to learn. So this is my answer.
Okay, good to know, because I think that was quite a worry for some. And I think one question that might be quite timely now, maybe more so for Jackson, what with Brexit, I guess what's the situation there with UK? Is that still?
Yeah, so the national portal exists. You can still get a lot of country level expertise for the UK, and I know it's a very popular destination. We will promote information and a lot of this information about which nationalities have secured which number of researchers from which number of countries have secured funding, and the destination a lot of them will choose to go to in Europe. If it's an international mobility scheme, ends up being the UK. They have negotiated with the European Commission to remain involved in a almost full capacity with Horizon Europe, with the exception of, I believe that will not include Erasmus Plus, which is also a mobility scheme. So depending on, I would encourage everyone that's not interested in the UK to look up Erasmus Plus, which is an excellent opportunity at several different levels of academia in the field of mobility. So for the most part, it will be as if it were an associated country, although formally it doesn't have that title. And you'll find a more nuanced, longer answer on the EURAXESS UK page, but it continues to be involved in that sense.
Excellent. And I think there were quite a few people here that probably don't have a non-EU or a US passport. Do you have an idea of how many of these people get PI positions?
I'll start, and Magda might have an additional insight. So oftentimes we will, what I can do is if someone's interested in a particular scheme like ERC grants or MSCA fellowships, I would encourage them to connect with my colleague and I, so North America at EURAXESS.net. You can find, I think in the chat, I've given every possible mode of communication to reach out to us except for smoke signals. So anything else and we'll get back to you. A lot of this information is publicly available the following year once all of the calls have closed. So I can give you statistics based on your own nationality or just sort of third countries generally. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't have rough numbers, but I know a lot of this information is available. In the case of jobs found off of the portal or host institution arrangements made on the portal, in this case, oftentimes this is not available. And I know that sounds like a downside, but if I could look at it from a different angle, I would say this is quite nice because what it means is, as I was alluding to earlier, you're not applying to EURAXESS and then having an additional layer between you and the institution you're looking to join, the academic program you're looking to start, or the job you're looking to start, regardless of if it's private sector or academia. So in that sense, it's sort of like we act as an information brokerage where these institutions post their opportunities, but because you're taking direct contact with them, we don't know if which candidate is successful or anything like that, because it's completely offline. It's direct communication between them. So in that sense, I don't get that information.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Magda's got something to add to that, but well, I prefer one of the other questions for you, Jackson, would be, and I think it would be academia and industry, but the portals you've mentioned earlier, is that for both academic jobs and industry jobs?
It is. If I'm able to share my screen, I have a specific section of the job portal where I can show this in a little bit more detail. So let me see if this works. So I didn't want to give rough numbers. In this case, I can share specific numbers. So literally, if you just go to the EURAXESS homepage and then you click the jobs and funding portal under sector, these are the categories that they've been defined as. So I clicked what I think of as non-academia. So large company, a lot of things will be folded into other, private with public mission, and then SMEs/startups. So I would say academia would tend to be just this first section here, which is an absolute majority of the total offers. If you add these up, this actually I can click search and we can do the math. So it looks like there's just over 8,000 offers. And I was doing the math earlier, and it's just over 10% end up what I would describe as private sector jobs. Keep in mind, a lot of these end up being displayed because it's automatic. If it receives commission funding, as so many academic positions do, it will show up on the portal. Whereas if it's private sector, they have to be aware of EURAXESS, or we have to have proactively reached out to them to develop a relationship. So in that case, the balance will sort of always be, I would say, tipped towards academia, but it's not excluding private sector by any means. You will find opportunities there. And I also really quickly, I'm going to go back, want to give a distinction between, so I mentioned before, I think that there were nearly 13,000 positions. And if you look here and ask why it's only showing 8,000 offers, that's because an offer can contain multiple positions. So a university may say, we have one offer and we're hiring 10 postdocs, for example. In that case, that would explain what looks like a discrepancy in the numbers, but everything does add up. And if I may, someone had reached out. I know we're using the Q&A function, and that's where Magda and I are also working with Rebecca to see what some of these questions are. Someone reached out directly with the chat, so I just want to get ahead and answer. Someone was asking about the European scientific diasporas, which I mentioned is quite one of the things that EURAXESS North America does, perhaps more than the other hubs. And Magda gave the example of the Spanish diaspora group in the United States, ACUSA, and all of the work they do with mentorship programs. So if you go on, I'll send a direct link in the chat, but if you go to the EURAXESS North America homepage or just northamerica.euraxess.org, or you go to the homepage and you click the third tab, European Scientific Diasporas, you can find a list here by country. And if you happen to see that the diaspora group is missing, because some of them are smaller, some of them are a bit more informal, maybe it was just newly created weeks ago. If we're not aware of it, or there's an additional group that we're not aware of, you can let us know. I'll just go to Croatia, for example. You can see here, there's one major association in the United States. Some will have multiple. Greece has a lot. They tend to break down the diaspora groups based on the specific scientific area. But let us know if there's corrections, if there's updates, if you're creating a group yourself. We have resources about tips and tricks for creating a diaspora group. But I'll share a link to this where people can connect. And each group is different again, but I would say the large majority of them, as long as you have an affinity for the country or a research interest, your own background doesn't matter, and they just want to create a community. So I think the arms are really open to you.
Excellent, great, yeah. And I think one other thing that came up quite a lot as well, and again, you might have briefly mentioned that the fellowships that you talked about, I assume you don't need a US passport for this.
Yeah, so just to explain to Magda, and I was trying to in the chat also address a couple questions, and when Magda was mentioning US passports and the reason we added that to the poll was specifically for the Fulbright programs. So I think everything else you mentioned afterwards, the Marie Skłodowska Actions, which I also spoke about several times, those postdoc fellowships, which are really popular, those are open to all. And then the fast track program that she mentioned after that is, correct me if I'm wrong, Magda, an Irish government scheme to aid non-EU/EEA citizens in getting the permits. Some other European countries may have equivalents of this. This is a case where it'll be different within each European country, but she was speaking to Ireland specifically.
Excellent, great.
Yes, actually the hosting agreement scheme, yes, other countries are also operating it, but that would be slightly different. Ireland is the only country which has this power delegated to EURAXESS. So we are actually a visa office.
Yeah.
So this is a very specific, but other countries have similar arrangements.
Okay, excellent. So I think we might wrap it up here. It's almost 1:15. If there are any questions you two maybe got directly in the chat and you'd like to still answer, feel free to. I don't know whether there was anything that you got.
I'll just chime in and say I agree with Magdalena's comment that I think in most cases, English alone it is in many ways a language of research, an international language, and a language of science. So I think people will find that if there are requirements for a separate language, either existing fluency or proficiency or a willingness to study it or a requirement to study it, this would be clearly laid out in the job description itself. So Magda did explain that there's certain sort of cultures, you may find that in certain countries, there's a tendency more in a certain direction. And I think this is where, if you're interested in specific countries, the national portals and the service centers within that country can explain in a lot more detail. But I think she gave a great overview of sort of the general layout. And Rebecca, if you allow me, as we sort of continue to wrap up some final thoughts, I'm just going to give a quick scan to see if I've missed anything. I may have a quick comment or two I'd like to add. Let's see. So, and I'll continue. I personally have a couple minutes, so I'm really happy if anyone wants to add last minute questions in the Q&A or comments in the chat. We want to make sure you get your nuanced answers now, and then we can continue offline by email for any separate follow-up. And I'll personally be making the presentation available afterwards, so people are free to view that afterwards.
Perfect, yeah, because I think there were some other people who asked whether there's any way to contact you, but as you mentioned multiple times, it's easy to contact you and to ask about their specific case and get this answered. Yeah, which is excellent to get that support. I think.
So I was going to say, I'll alongside Magda maybe ask. So someone asked, do national portals have someone you can talk to get some advice about your concrete case? If this was discussed earlier, I may have just briefly missed it. In this case, I would say, so there's a really rich network, not only within EURAXESS, but the national contact points for a lot of these these funding schemes themselves. So if you're interested, if you know you want to be in Ireland, but you also know the funding scheme you want is Marie Skłodowska Actions, MSCA, or the postdoc fellowship in particular, let's just give an example. They have several different fellowships within MSCA. You can also contact the Ireland-based MSCA national contact point. It wouldn't have to be exclusively Magdalena or EURAXESS Ireland. And then in some cases, it's a wide open, the barrier to entry is quite low. So you don't have to demonstrate that you've already made all of these commitments to Ireland in order for them to ask you. You could ask a question to EURAXESS Spain, just because perhaps with the time zone differences, let's say EURAXESS Estonia might be more convenient for you than EURAXESS Ireland, 1 or 2 hours difference. So therefore, if you want to make a live call, you can just simply call them and ask them. So I found that when I work with them sort of as colleagues or as counterparts within EURAXESS, they're all very open with me. And when I connect US-based and Canada-based researchers, they all welcome them with open arms. So in this case, when you say concrete case, I would just ask specifically, when the asker asked about talking to someone about your concrete case, it would just depend on the funding scheme itself or your specific question. But I know in Magda's final slide, she also mentioned being available and through every possible medium. So I would say you can also contact EURAXESS and get a lot of tailored help based on your specifics.
And to kind of like step away from
Perfect, that sounds great.
future,
Magda, if there's anything else that you'd like to add just to wrap up now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe just the aspect which Jackson already mentioned, that we are really connected here in EURAXESS. So we are working like a big organism. So don't be afraid to contact us, you know, any of us in the network. This is the mission which we would like to fulfill as best as we can. So again, if you have any questions, I'm available. Please ask me, please write to me an email, and I will reply tomorrow, because I am finishing now. It's evening time in Ireland, so wait a little bit and I will be back with any replies. Thank you so much.
Excellent, perfect. And with that, I think, yeah, it's 15:15. We'll wrap it up. As both said, if there are any more questions or anything, I think they're very happy to be emailed and help everyone out. And with that, I'll hand it back to Laurie if she wants to close the meeting, or Jackson.
Laurie, take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for attending the event, and thank you, Magdalena and Jackson, for this really helpful presentations. I think a lot of people were really happy with the information they had. And again, don't forget to attend our event on Thursday, which is quite complimentary of this the event of today, where you will be able to chat with scientists who are now in Europe. Yes, thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you very much.